Hi guys, so I'm going to do another collective reading today. So we are using the Mary L. Tarot as well as the Sacred Web Tarot. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the Sacred Web. Oh, and the messages, like always. Alright, so what does the collective who is watching right now need to know for their highest timeline? What does the collective who's watching right now need to know for their highest timeline? One more. Okay. We have the... Oh, I don't think I've ever had this card before. Two of Pentacles. I've used this deck so many times. I've had it for years. I don't think I've ever gotten this card. I've never seen it, to my knowledge. The Two of Pentacles, followed by the Moon card. Is he a flamingo or a heron? A flamingo or a heron? Can't tell. Alright, interesting. Okay. Alright. So now the Mary L. Tarot. So what does the collective who's watching right now need to know for their highest timeline? What's the collective who's watching right now need to know for their highest timeline? One more. Some of these are naked. Okay. Alright. We have the Eight of Wands here. This child being protected. A security blanket. We were talking about that in the Pisces reading. Security blanket for an inner child or a child. Alright. Then we have the Temperance card on the bottom. Oh, alright. Alright. So what does the collective who's watching right now need to know? Their highest timeline. They need to know. Okay. Alright. Let's go ahead and put this down here. Alright, so we have Under the Skin. No sex until after marriage. Alright. See what kind of reading this is. Law and Order. Reminds me of a Capricorn reading we had about 2 months ago. Okay. Adapter between two things. King of Swords. Pass it on. Spaceship. Bloodlust. Ooh, I just got this the other day. Okay. History Channel. Yeah, this, I have a feeling I know exactly where this is going. We'll see. Inevitably I Fall. This is a poem that I wrote. I think I might have posted that on the channel in the shorts. Can't remember. I think I did. Encino Man, I just had like a flash of light just pass over my eye. That normally happens when I'm about to have a migraine. Like it's like a fractal of light that like crosses through the front of my face. Yeah. Okay, then we have Spirit Doctor. I think I'm going to go ahead and pause this and lay down just to make sure, like, just my own mind. But I got everything laid out here, and I already told you guys, so I'll be back later. Hi guys, so I am back. I just needed to take a rest and just kind of relax. We have Spirit Doctor right here, so I think I'm going to talk about that when we get around to that energy, so I just don't take up the first part of the video explaining what that was about. It's a fairly new thing that's happened in my life. I just started getting migraines back in August of last year, so it's very new for me. So I'll talk about it and kind of like when we get to Spirit Doctor, we'll see if that's just like something I need to talk about and bring through. Okay, so first off, we have the Two of Pentacles. Normally, this is a card of juggling, like balancing and juggling stuff at the same time. But here he looks like a magician that's like merging these two things in midair. And I don't know what that yellow thing is up there. I was looking at that right before I started. It literally like looks like three things at the same time. It looks like a banana, it looks like a flower, and it looks like a butterfly. So I have no clue what that is supposed to be. I'm guessing like a flower, but it seems significant. It's yellow. So solar energy, identity, the solar plexus. We'll see what that's about, but he's merging two things. And this can feel like a good energy, a welcomed energy in your life when you have like new things coming in your life where you're wanting to know where you need to sacrifice stuff, where you can merge these two things together. It can be a very, it can feel like just a very, maybe not even exciting, like a needed energy. Like, what do I need to do to merge this into my life? It can also feel like something that is uncomfortable and not wanted, depending on your life, whatever this is about. But we'll see, because it's clarifying the Moon card. And the Moon card can be about hidden things. Things that are not fully seen or known. And when that comes out in a reading, it just means that there's a reason why something isn't known. There's a reason why something is hidden. There's a reason why I'm not supposed to see something here. So we'll see like what the significance of that is here for your reading. Okay. And then we have the Eight of Wands. This lion. It's a fire lion with wings. Protecting this inner child. I was just talking about the security blanket in one of the collective readings, and I believe also in Pisces. Protecting an inner child with a security blanket, and here we have a child with a security blanket over it. Protection. This passionate, fiery lion presence watching over it, holding it safely. If you look at that, one of its hands is an actual lion paw and the other is a actual like human hand. That reminds me of the strength card. Taming your primal impulses, your primal energy. Interesting, because that came through as like primal energy in one of the Pisces readings. Primal embodiment. Knowing how to tame that, how to show up, how to balance it, how to be like either like or both in this primal energy, like within like maybe even the sexual side of your relationship, but also being able to be like in this nurturing, this mothering or fatherly energy also for the inner child of your partner. Like just knowing how to balance these things. We have adapter between two things right underneath this card. And then King of Swords sitting halfway underneath and then halfway underneath the Temperance card. Adapter between two things. Adapter between two things. Yeah. Primal embodiment. That was the energy that came through. Tiger energy is a very important energy in my life. We'll see if it has anything more, you know, if I need to say anything more about that, but yeah. It's like primal embodiment. Knowing how to balance things, how to show up like correctly for whatever energy is like needed. Okay. So then we have under the skin. So something feeling under the skin. Something getting under your skin. We have the Moon card. So this can be about emotions, but it can also be about whatever this hidden thing is that I'm not able to see right here. So it's going to be very different for everyone. So this hidden thing feels like it's under your skin, or this elusive thing, something, maybe even you don't know exactly what this is or what's going on, but something is getting under your skin. We'll look more into that. Okay, then we have no sex until after marriage. Sitting here, joining these two cards together. So this can literally mean no sex until after marriage. This can even be like a covenant that you've like created with your partner. Even if you've been in a sexual relationship with people or with your partner, and maybe just creating new traditions or something, making something important, like creating a ritual or you know, I was talking about this in another reading. I believe it was a Cancer reading. How traditional stuff is starting to feel more edgy now, especially in the kind of culture that we're in. Just where everything feels like it's just shoved down your face. And just like traditional stuff is feeling more just like edgy in the weirdest way. I don't even know how else to describe it. Just like monogamy. I used to be polyamorous and in open relationships for most of my adult fading. Adult dating life. But now, a couple years ago, I became monogamous, and I'm very much that way still. It's very much how I want to live the rest of my life. So that's kind of what this energy is like coming through as. No sex until after marriage. Maybe looking into new things. around partnerships, old traditions. And that's also not saying like I'm very much like a part of the LGBT community. I'm not like talking about that stuff. Like I'm just talking about like even just traditions around dating and around marriage, courtship. That came through in the Pisces reading when we had this energy come through. The courtship. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Okay, so then we have law and order here. Underneath this Two of Pentacles card, law and order. This could be like actual legalities going on in your life, like actual real life law and order stuff. Or this could be more like karmic or more metaphorical, or like karmic law, karmic order in your life. It's going to be different, yeah, for everyone. But we have these two things in law and order sitting here, balancing or merging law and order. Maybe even following the appropriate measures you need to do for something. Like if this is real life, like law and legal stuff, like paperwork, following the appropriate measures, how do you make those things happen? How do you do that? If this is like karmically, like following law, respecting the order of everything going on, following your steps, like setting intentions and following those, respecting everything within a situation, karmically, being able to walk down that like straight path where you're respecting everything involved. I'm just thinking about law and order. Yeah, I feel like karmically that's just like a responsible thing to do when you're able to respect all parts of a situation, like the movement of everything, the changing of everything, even like paperwork and things being filed. Just respecting all the things involved or all the people involved, but knowing how to merge it, how to balance it, how to, yeah, how to, or mix it. Yeah. Still don't know what this like flying banana thing is. I mean, it looks like a flying banana. Like, and the monkey in the last collective reading, there was a monkey that was very significant. And monkeys eat bananas. Knowing how to entice something, how to get it to come. That was also another message, catnip. How to draw something through something that's trapped. Like a cat getting lost outside, helping bring it in. Or like someone stuck in a moors, holding a lantern. Like bringing a monkey in. Like showing it, like waving a banana around. You know? Also, was that also in one of the more recent readings? I forgot which one it was. I was talking about a bat and how bats eat bananas. We were talking about baby bats. Huh. I don't know why that's coming through like that, but we're just gonna play with that. Okay. So adapter between two things, sitting here with the Eight of Wands. We were talking about Solvay and the coagula. Bringing this energy in, creating a solvent, then coagulating the information, or whatever this is about. And I'm just looking at this. That's what's going on right here. Between the actual lion paw and the human hand. Clearly it's the same energy, the same person, whatever this is. And allowing that process to go back and forth, back and forth. This is between you and a partner, or you and like someone else, or a situation. Like being able to just allow the natural flows of something, knowing how to show up for someone in many different ways, even holding like many different types of archetypes for even just a single person. Being able to show up as a mother, being able to show up as like your primal self, like, you know, kind of holding those two things in balance. This could be a literal child in your life, or it could be like the inner child of your partner, or even your inner child. And that's clarifying the Temperance card, balance, the alchemy. Solvay and coagula is literal alchemy. Knowing how to, I gave the example of the birds. Knowing how to I gave the example of the hornbill. It's my favorite bird. Just like the partner, being able to go out and get the berries and the worms for its partner that's like stuck in the nest. She can't do anything, but she's incubating the nest, but she's well protected. No predator is going to get to her. But he's responsible to go and get her berries and her worms and everything that she needs to nourish her body and the nest and feed the babies. That to me is the literal process of Solvay and coagula. Like in just like its primal aspect. I gave the example of like knowledge and how to transmute that and turn it into like an emotional energy, how to pour it forward. Even like putting something into music or something into poetry. That's literal air and water merging together. We have the King of Swords binding these two together. King of Swords. Literally, that is my solvent energy that I was explaining to Gemini. That's the solvent energy. That's how I was showing it in my own life. Being able to go out and get the information for your partner. Getting something for your partner. Being able to show up for your partner. Holding a full truth on something. Being able to execute something exactly. Having the knowledge. Knowing what you need to do. How you need to show up. That's binding these two energies together. Or drawing it together. Yeah, King of Swords. So kings are at the top of their mountains for their suits. So they hold like even a responsibility or perceived responsibility. And swords is intellect, it's knowledge, it's the mind. Even being like clear-minded, showing up mentally well. There's something going on outside. Even showing up like mentally well, doing the things that are going to take care of your mental health. If you need to go to bed, if you need to make sure that you're merging the appropriate things into your life that are going to create wellness for you, that are going to create the ability for you to show up in the way that you need to show up in life, show up for your partner, show up for your children, like whatever this is about, show up for your work, your dreams, your goals. And knowing what you need to merge into your life, how it needs to come through. King of Swords is going to find that knowledge, or it already is in possession of that knowledge to be able to execute it. It's literally binding these two things together. And that's a child. That can literally be showing up for a child in whatever way that means for you. An actual child, an inner child, a project. You know, some people call like their projects their child. Like they're like a mother over it or a father over it. Okay, then we have, pass it on underneath the Temperance card. So pass it on, passing something to the next person, passing a torch, passing on a kindness, not even needing it to be repaid. Just like, I actually did that with something recently in my own life. So I do resell on eBay. And I forgot exactly what happened. This was like 2 months ago, but something happened. And I ended up giving the person the thing for free because it was just going to be more timely. It was going to be consuming. It was literally going to be more than it was worth for everything to happen. So I told them, I said, you know what? I'm going to just refund the whole thing. It was a mistake on my end. It was just a really simple mistake, but it threw off everything. And so I refunded everything, just the amount to them. And they were like, whoa, like, you know, I want to pay you for this. I know, like, you know, it's a mistake, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you know what? Just pass it on. That was like literally the simple thing that I said. And I said, you know, just enjoy it and do something, you know, kind for the next person. Like, I don't need, you know, but that's kind of like what that energy is, like not needing even a kindness to be repaid, just like kind of setting that intention, like you pass it forward to someone else, like, and even spiritually, you can kind of see it as like karmic, like it'll come back around to me when I need it. So passing something on, passing on a kindness, not needing it to be repaid, knowing it's going to come back around to you in some way, or just trusting that even. Okay. So then we have, spaceship sitting right under the skin. Spaceship under the skin. Spaceship sitting right under the skin. Spaceship under the skin. What is it called? The UFO? Unidentified object? Something feeling spacey. Not being able to put your finger on something, but knowing something is there even. Maybe not fully understanding, but you could even say like witnessing a spaceship, but not understanding it, or witnessing something and not understanding it. But something is under your skin. Whatever this moon card is representing to you. And spaceship can be like something otherworldly, something that's not a part of our world, something that can feel like an unknown. Just thinking about the Arrival movie. That's one of my favorite, like, alien movies. Under the Skin. Spaceship. Language. Okay, then we have Bloodlust. So Bloodlust just came through in my own life. So Sekhmet is a very important goddess that I've worked with for a long time. And bloodlust is a very big part of that energy. And it's about justice. And her father is Ra, the Egyptian god Ra. And she's actually sent out to cleanse the land of all of the injustice that is going on in the eyes of Ra. And he's a sun god, so he sees all, you know. And this is more so, it just reminds me, clearly people can hear that word cleanse the land and hear very many like scary things. So I just want to make it very clear, like I'm not talking about like harming anyone, like nothing like that. But bloodlust. So he sent Sekhmet out and she cleansed the land and she got drunk on the bloodlust of purification, of purifying everything, reducing it back to ash. That came through in another reading, reducing things, I think the last collective reading, reducing things back to ash. And she got drunk on that, and drunk came through in another collective reading. We were talking about psychosis, being ungrounded, needing to come back down to earth, ground, slow down the energy. Bloodlust, when you're exacting justice, it can feel like a bloodlust. Especially when you feel like your innocence has been stolen or something has been grossly done against you and you're claiming your justice, that can feel like a bloodlust energy. And just knowing how to ground, how to recenter yourself, even like with rage, like knowing how to even work with archetypes, like maybe working with Sekhmet might be a helpful energy here. If you're experiencing some kind of rage or even a sense of being out of control, working with Sekhmet, just embodiment. We have here the primal embodiment, and she's technically a lion energy, and we have a lion here. Balance. This lion has wings. That's having gotten your bloodlust under control. Understanding the balance, also understanding everyone has an inner child. Everyone is innocent and not blowing up or hurting people's innocence. In like this bloodlust energy, this exacting justice or revenge. Sekhmet. Maybe even understanding all sides of something more clearly. Like understanding why injustice was created, why something was done by another person. Like it doesn't take away the feeling of bloodlust and anger and feeling like your innocence has been stolen. Like clearly that's energy you need to work through and not repress. but knowing how to do that in a sacred way, in a safe way that doesn't harm other people. And when you ground, when you're more grounded, you can clearly see the actions you need to take from a clear-minded space. Yeah, this energy. This looks like a justice energy. Sekhmet energy, having undergone like transformation, but also understanding how to protect the innocence within situations. And not creating just another, like, because if you think about it, when you exact, like, just think about like what is that called? The Hatfields and McCoys, like when you exact revenge and just like an eye for an eye, clearly those people are going to come right back at you. And then they're going to want revenge, and then they're going to come right back at you. And then there's like this never-ending like war. And just maybe understanding things more clearly, how to do something differently. How to reclaim your innocence, maybe in a new way. In a way that's going to empower you. I feel like that's the best revenge, when you're able to reclaim your justice and like really stand up powerfully for yourself. That's naturally gonna like be a success story, and be natural revenge without having done anything like against another person. We'll get more into that. We'll see what that's about, but that's something I'm going through in my life. So, okay. So History Channel, right underneath Law and Order. When I saw History Channel, especially when I was just talking about like the primal embodiment, it just reminds me of that song, Do It Like They Do It on the History Channel. It's about like animal and the primal nature behind things, courtship, you know. But we have a deep balancing here. And that's sitting right underneath a Law and Order, karmic law, knowing how to balance something, or even just like within actual like relationships or something going on in your life, knowing how to balance it, how to protect and respect everyone in the situation. Just thinking about like sistership and brothership. At the end of the day, we're all just people. We all have our wounds. We all have an inner child. We all have innocence within us, an innocence that has been stolen. You know, and sometimes people do corrupt and gross things because of their own innocence being stolen. That doesn't necessarily make that right. And that can hurt people. And then you have trauma because of their stuff. It's just maybe about understanding how to go about things maybe more correctly, understanding how to set your intentions and speak what you need to speak, and even asking and with your spiritual guidance, God, universe, whatever you believe in, to like pull you through, bring you through, help guide you to take the appropriate actions that you need to maneuver around situations. But History Channel, what else could this be about? Learning. I know there's like alien stuff on the History Channel. We have this spaceship thing. Ancient aliens, is that one of the things? My grandmother, I used to take care of my grandmother, and she used to love watching the History Channel and like all the alien programs and stuff. It's just what that reminds me of. Okay, then we have Inevitably I Fall. So this is a poem that I wrote. This was actually one of the very first poems that I wrote when I was like 20 or 21. And I wrote it for a girl that I was crushing on. You know, like just like those first like really just big emotional feelings when you think that you really like someone. And anyways, I was inspired to write a poem, and I wrote Inevitably I Fall. And yeah, just it's kind of like those first emotions in a relationship, or even going through something new. I was just kind of freshly out of the closet at that time with like certain friends of mine. But I was very much in the closet with like my family, and the majority of my life was still in the closet with my sexuality. At that time, I was still calling myself bi. Um, yeah, so new emotional experiences, new feelings, um, new relationships. We'll see what that's about. Maybe not being impulsive. That was a big part of the poem at the very end, is that I was talking about not being impulsive, and then I was impulsive. And that was kind of like what kind of separated us. Like we had this kind of good thing going. And then I was just really impulsive and romantic and just anyways, just it's like one of those things. I wrote like a huge letter. I've noticed like romantically in my just emotional relationships, I like big, bold statements. I don't know why that is. I just, for whatever reason, I seem to do it. And it can be like too much. It can feel like overwhelming. Um, you know. So that's just what that reminds me of. Inevitably I fall. Maybe like creating more balance here, because if you think about that, this energy can feel like a big, bold, emotional statement, but also knowing how to balance it and understanding like the security and stability of a situation, watching out for all aspects of the situation, knowing it more thoroughly, not making impulsive moves. Okay. Then we have Encino Man. So this is a movie I used to love, with Brendan Fraser. He was a caveman. You know, it was kind of one of those like spoofy movies where, you know, they unfreeze a caveman from like obviously a long time ago, and he's all of a sudden alive and roaming wild, and you know, they're high school kids. It's a fun movie. That would be something fun to watch. But Encino Man, primal caveman. He was very primal. He was doing like all these odd things that people didn't understand, but it was because he was from a different time. We have spaceship, which is reminding me of like an alien energy, something doing something differently. Okay, we'll come back around to that. Okay. Spirit Doctor. All right. So Spirit Doctor is more so like an energy healer or an energy worker. There's many different things that can fall under this. An herbalist. Spirit doctor, someone who is able to help cure things within the spirit, within the soul, alchemize things, know what someone needs, like that kind of like spiritual surgery, being able to get through into something, open it up, put the medicine in, and let it heal. We have King of Swords here, and I actually gave that example in a reading a while back about a King of Swords knows how to cut right into something, knows how to pinpoint something exactly, cut it open it up. That is a King of Swords energy. It's going to be right on target. Like if it's a needle point, it's going to find the needle point of something. Spirit Doctor, knowing how to do this. Okay, so I was going to talk about, yeah, at the very beginning when I first started this reading, I started, so this is something that actually started back in August for me last year. It's a very, very new thing in my life. And actually, I went through something kind of like traumatic at the very end of July. Something disorienting. It was very painful. And then a week later, that was when I started having migraines. And so it's just one of those things that I don't understand. And I've been trying to figure out in my life, like, why would I start having migraines? And at first I was getting these like every other day. Like it started a week after I went through this like kind of emotionally traumatizing thing. And this migraine thing started happening, and I realized I didn't know what it was at first, but it was like I would experience all these like fractals of light just like appear across my vision. And just like it would almost spiral like this, these like fractals of light, but it's like it would blind me slightly. It really kind of freaked me out. And so at first I was experiencing those like every other day, like just out of nowhere, kind of like this intense thing starting to happen. And it scared me with like my mind. I was like, what is going on? And then it started kind of slowing down. And right now I experience this like maybe once a week to every other week. It's not as frequent, but I'm still experiencing this in my life. And I've learned to lay down and just like rest my mind and make sure that I feel like I just close my eyes and I just like kind of open up my head, just like allowing just it to pass out, like whatever the energy is. Like I don't force more into my brain just in case like it has something to do with like my just anyways, like don't want to stress out my head, just whatever's going on. And so I lay down and I just like open up my mind. You could even say like kind of like what you do in meditation, just kind of like whatever it is, just let it just come and go. But that's like something that I've been like trying to figure out in my own life. And that's like being a spirit doctor, trying to detect what's going on. Like, why did that happen a week after I went through this traumatizing experience? And why did it happen and then like so intensely, and then it's still kind of like in my life? Like, what is that? Why is that? That's something I'm very much like trying to figure out in my own life, like what that's about. And my mom actually goes through this, and I never knew about this until I was telling her what I was experiencing. She's like, yeah, I go through that, and my doctor told me it's migraines. And I used to think migraines were like intense headaches, but she said no. For some people, I think it can be like really intense headaches, but mine, like, I don't feel anything in my head, just like this like blinding like fractals of light, kind of just like distorting my vision. And yeah. So maybe there's something going on in your life, something that you're maybe needing to understand or figure out. Or maybe you have medicine for something or the answers to something, because we have it sitting right underneath. Pass it on. Pass it on. Pass on your knowledge. Pass on your medicine. Speak on it. This can be like making YouTube videos even. sharing your information. Pass it on. Sorry guys, my nose is like really running today. I was outside and just, yeah. Okay, so pass it on with right underneath, or right above Spirit Doctor with this temperance energy, alchemy, literally medicine, mixing things together. Think like a voodoo doctor, like just grinding all the herbs together, putting her intentions in, like what she's doing with it, passing on something, Spirit Doctor. Okay. All right, let's like flesh this through one more time and see what new energy has cooked. Okay. So under the skin with the moon card. So these can be like intense emotional experiences. It is the moon card. And so in tarot, the moon is ruled by Pisces. But in astrology, it's ruled by Cancer. That's why we have the little Cancer, little crab right here. We have the ocean kind of in the back, so it's like a merging of those two energies, really. Under the skin. Emotional, something feeling just very emotional. Maybe it could feel overwhelming. Maybe it's like pulling on your tides, your emotional tides. Maybe that's the reason why you're merging these two things, or maybe getting answers, bringing something new into your life, merging it in, knowing how to make it a part of your life. No sex until after marriage. Joining the moon card and this card together. Maybe you've gone through something really intense with someone and maybe it's changed your whole perspective on life. That's like what happened to me a couple years ago. I had just an extremely intense emotional experience, life-changing, literally like having been like polyamorous and in like open relationships for like most of my dating life, and then going through something really intense and then realizing it was literally like an overnight change. Like the next day I was like, I am monogamous. Very much so. And it was like frightening because I had been like making everyone like, it was almost like a weird, not weird, it felt very like sacred, but very much like making people more open-minded about polyamorous relationships, open relationships, wanting people to be more fluid. And then all of a sudden waking up and feeling like I had like created my ultimate hell within relationships. Like, no, that's not what I want at all. That feels quite threatening now to what I actually want. Oh my God. You know, it's kind of like taking those, like, seeing things, like, even clearly, like, what I was doing. Like, in the eyes of someone deeply monogamous, like, that can be quite frightening and scary and terrifying. Like, I literally was, like, the version of, myself that I wouldn't want anywhere near my relationship. Like, you know, like, just amazing to me. Anyway, so that can be like merging, like having gone through an extremely different experience that you're in now, and maybe learning how to merge those two things together, how to make peace with something even. Like, maybe you were in a deeply, like, had maybe, because we have no sex until after marriage, and that just sounds like a deeply, like, complete opposite from maybe even someone who's like in, who's in or like a slut, or someone who is in like a lot of like open relationships or just have multiple partners, and then all of a sudden you switch into this thing like, okay, now I'm like, I don't want to have sex until after marriage. I want my partner and I want it to be like this. Like those kind of like night and day differences. I would say what I went through was like very much like that shocking, like extreme energy. Maybe that's just something like to even think about, like maybe just coming back to maybe more traditional things, and unless it's something that you've already gone through and you're just like making peace and like learning how to merge these two things together, like who you were with who you are now. Like they're both a part of you, they're both who you are. Law and order. Maybe even understanding like two different positions of something. Yeah, we're gonna leave it like that. Okay, so yeah, law and order. Karmic law. Law. If you think about it, every country kind of has like their own different laws, like what's appropriate and what's not. Like even in like a lot of places, so I live in the US, but a lot of places overseas, I know you can still die and be killed for being LGBT. Very much so, or jailed, like just which is crazy just to think about, you know. Yeah, everyone has different laws, different order going on, even within the government. And sometimes, like, even your spiritual law and what's right for you spiritually can be an exact opposition to what is going on within, like, even your country or even your family. Because families can be deeply, like, tribal, where they kind of like push out anyone that's not like them or different or shun or make you feel like perverse in some way simply because you believe or you do something differently. Yeah, depending on where you are, I feel like that, you know. So law and order. Even blending like culture right here. Understanding like the tribal under like yeah, the experience of like the tribe and then your experience, or the experience of a family and then what your experience is, or a country, and you know. I just want to say protect yourself. If there's like something going on, hmm. Yeah, depending on where you're at, just like make sure your security and your stability is like the most important thing. Like, yeah. Like if you live, like if, let's say you're LGBT and you live somewhere that like you can literally like be killed or be jailed because that's who you are. Like that's not something that you're going to necessarily that like flaunt around, and because that's very threatening to your stability and your way of like just existing normally in life. And that can be really really sad and disappointing. Not even disappointing, like really just painful to not be able to show up as who you are. But it's the law or the order of the land. Maybe learning how to find balance in that. That's hard to talk about because I clearly I live in the US, and that's a pretty widely accepted thing, but I know like even in countries like Russia, I know you can be jailed, and I know you can go through a lot of just really just a lot just if you're LGBT. So whatever your situation is. History Channel. Oh, I guess I'm going this way. Okay, so adapter between two things. 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 Oh. Adapter between two things. Feeling like, okay. There's a lot of like feeling like an outsider or like a, feeling different or wanting to make some even extreme changes. But knowing how to balance something and keep something protected and safe, stable. Like if you really want to make changes, you're not going to do things that are going to risk your current stability. You're going to even like move silently, do things like behind the scenes, like make your moves. Because King of Swords is responsible, intellectually responsible. We have law and order, which can be that exact energy, justice. Law and order, Libra, justice, the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords energy, both are right here. Being able to execute things, knowing how to cut through it, what needs to be cut through. Finding the things that are the adapters between two things. Connecting things together. Not being impulsive. Primal energy can feel impulsive, especially like with courtship behaviors, because primal energy, animals, like they're very much like this is what I'm going to do. You know, like they're very much very open with what their intentions are. Maybe there's a need for balance with this right here. Just feels like just honoring what you need to do right now, honoring what's going to keep you financially secure, what's going to keep you emotionally stable. That inner child is safe. It's protected, especially even with this primal energy right here. That's still a very well protected inner child. That just feels so important right here. Yeah, bloodlust with the Sekhmet. Oh, I'm still holding the cards like this. What is this little thing about? Okay, so yeah, adapting. Even like a moon energy, that came through in my life several months ago about how to silently push through something to avoid the devil. the devils that are around you, the devils, like those things that are controlling you, that have the ability to disrupt your life, the ability to create hell within your life. There's a sense of like something even having like even power or control over your stability and your security, making sure that you're avoiding or maneuvering correctly through those things. That's how the moon card came through for me several months ago, knowing how to push through silently without being witnessed by the devil, those devil energies that will do something or try to harm your life or whatever, if they're able to, if they see you or know what you're doing. But this feels just. This is just energy, raw, Sekhmet, law and order. Whatever this is about, protecting that inner child, yeah, or a child, or whatever child symbolically represents to you. Knowing how to merge things successfully, how to bring these two things together successfully. Just, yeah, even if you have to take it even slower, just whatever that is for you, just making sure if you really want these two things to come together, it doesn't matter what speed you need to go. Like, if you need to slow things down and just like make sure, like King of Swords, like I need to poke through something this small, like within this huge thing, I need to find exactly where that is, you know. Yeah, with the King of Swords. Yeah, King of Swords is joining the temperance, this like primal embodiment, this alchemy, together with this Sekhmet energy that's winged, protecting this child, the balance of the primal and the human energy. You could even say the father or the mother aspect within yourself, the friend, the sister, the brother. Just showing up in the way that is necessary for a situation, or the moving of the situations, or the fluidness of a situation. Yeah, and then pass it on. Pass on the respect. You know, I think that's also something when you can deeply respect someone in a situation that you don't like. I think that's just like respecting that they have experiences, that they have an inner child, they've gone through things that have been where their innocence has been stolen. They have their own wounding, and even if you don't like someone, like I can name several people in my life that I do not like, but I respect them. And on a karmic level, I respect them. And I do what I need to do to make sure that that respect is there. Because I'm not interested in just, yeah, just like pass it on. Like, if this is about respect or kindness, awareness, honoring a situation or honoring something, like, or what it was or where it's at. Yeah. Then spaceship underneath, under the skin. Just reminds me of like feeling foreign, feeling like you're not home, wanting to go home. I was just Escape to Witch Mountain was something that came in recently for me. and it was these two kids. This was a movie my brother and I used to love growing up. But it was about these two kids who were separated from their family, and they were having to live in the real world. They looked human, but they were technically aliens. But they were being cared for, and they had these like special abilities. But they knew that they weren't where they needed to be. They knew they needed to get there. Like what the girl had, like the had sight. She could see visions. And the boy had like magical powers, like levitation and stuff like that. And so anyways, they worked together to get where they needed to go. And they knew they needed to get to a mountain. They didn't know why or what was going to await them there. They just knew they needed to get there. Anyways, they met a friend, this older man, who was able to like maneuver around like the cops and all the people. It was a bunch of like rich people that wanted these kids for their use. You can only imagine what they wanted to do with their magical powers. And anyways, so they maneuvered around the cops and all the people, and finally got to the mountain. And when they got to the mountain, you found out that was where their home was, where their kind, the other aliens, and they were waiting for them to show up. And so when they got there, they got into the spaceship and they left. They went, you can imagine, they went back home, wherever they went. Anyways, that showed up for me in my life. Okay, so, but spaceship here with under the skin, maybe not understanding something. Like if you think about like the girl and the boy, they knew they needed to get somewhere. They just didn't quite understand why, but they were trusting that they needed to get there. They were being called home. They were being called back to their family, to their spaceship. Whatever this is like representing to you, I know everyone believes in something different, so I'm not gonna just thinking about like, star seeds, star tribe, soul tribe, that kind of stuff. If that's something that you believe in, maybe that's like that feeling of being called home, not understanding why you're being drawn to something or to do something. Or even to a person. Like if you think about like soulmates or like the twin flame concept. I have a different opinion or a different understanding of that. But I know a lot of people, especially within the spiritual communities, like believe in those things. So like whatever this is for you, representing, it's the moon card. So I feel like it's going to be very different for everyone. Sorry guys, my nose is just like really, really going. Okay, so bloodlust. This kind of feels like wanting to get where you need to go at whatever cost. That can feel intense, and that can feel like it can hurt other people. Just like what I was talking about, the Sekhmet energy, knowing how to balance that, how to not like create more. It's like almost like wanting revenge for the innocence that was stolen from you, but in your pursuit of getting that revenge, you're stealing innocence from other people. You're literally creating what you're trying to get back or get revenge for. So just yeah, maybe just whatever this is representing to you, understanding that. And then History Channel. Also, with no sex until after marriage, depending on where you are in the world or the belief system that you're in or grew up in, that can very much be something that was almost like put onto you. I know when I grew up, that was a very, very stressful energy in my household. No sex until after marriage. And when I grew up, that was something intense. Like all throughout my teenage years, that was something like literally my mom would like confront me with it felt like every day, and it was such a deeply like scary thing. It was a it was it was like almost traumatic, like the way in which she was like very much so um I don't even know how to say that. Like, I've clearly not made peace with that, like certain parts of my teenage years, just because like it just, but like no sex until after marriage. Maybe this is just something that was like put onto you, something even just like deeply traumatic that um maybe something that you grew up with that you're looking for revenge on, or you're trying to make peace with. Yeah. Sex was a very toxic energy in my family growing up. Like it was something scary. It was something painful. It was something that my mom like put on to me all the time. Like if I even had a crush on a boy, all of a sudden, like I was questioned constantly. Are you having sex? Did you have sex? Like this kind of thing. Clearly, I was terrified of it because of the intensity with which my mom came at me with. I'm not going to go down that story. Um, so maybe you have like these stories in your life, these painful stories that maybe even need to like clear out so you're not putting it onto other people. Um, and recognizing maybe even why you've done some things, why some things are painful, maybe just looking back on old traumas, and maybe why you've even done things or made some moves that you've made, or chosen certain things for your life. Yeah. So History Channel, just getting more knowledge even. Maybe that just might be something to look into, the History Channel. Just like shows on the History Channel. Alone is my favorite History Channel show. I've watched those episodes over and over and over again. I love that show. I don't see how that has any relevance here, but it's just a really good show. It's like primal instinct, knowing how to survive on your own, knowing how to move through an unknown environment and survive with what you have, even limited um, resources, but relying on your skill, your intelligence. Inevitably, I fall. Surrender. Yeah, I just. Hmm. I was just gonna say, at the very beginning of that poem, it's a poem that I wrote, but at the very beginning of it, it was very much about like the flirtation of um me and another person, and like the kind of like exchanges and stuff. And then it was kind of like towards the end, it was just about where I went wrong and understanding where I went wrong. And maybe there's like some kind of like understanding here, maybe of where someone else went wrong, or maybe where you've gone wrong in the past, or where you did something maybe even impulsively, We have all this animal energy right here. This caveman, primal, you know, impulsive, desire, reacting on your just primal energies. Maybe just respecting more of the innocence, if that's something that wasn't there before. Yeah, and then Encino Man. Just, I feel like that would be a fun movie to watch right now. Encino Man. I feel like it would really kind of bring in this, this kind of like playful alchemy to what this is. And Spirit Doctor. Finding the medicine that you need, or even holding the medicine. Like, I feel like we all hold our own medicine, especially for our wounds. Like, I think of like a wound as like venom. You already you have that venom inside you. You can alchemize it into your medicine and give it to other people. That's literally, to me, what a spirit doctor means. Like, knowing how to transmute that venom within you, the wounds within you, and create medicine and alchemy and stuff that you can give out. You can pass it on. All right, guys. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Yep, we're well into it again. And yeah, I hope you got what you needed here today. Some questions to ask in your own life, some answers here. And I wish you well. Bye.